Like, if I'm Eric Bieniemy, the first thing, how do you go from Pat Mahomes to Sam Howell? That's just, I mean, when you think about it. So any chef, right, when they begin to cook, I don't care how good you cook, if the groceries aren't there, the food won't be that great. So if I have to cook a 5-star meal versus another acclaimed chef, he's working with filet mignon, lamb chops, prime rib, and me, I got ground turkey. It's probably going to be hard for me to display my talents in the same way that this guy does when he's working with better groceries. And I think that now that Eric Bieniemy is in a situation where, now, I will say this. Sometimes taking a position where the offense has been so bad, right, that any type of marked improvement would lend to the belief that, hey, this guy is an offensive genius. So I can see where he's gambling on himself. But in my opinion, my gamble would have been the, hey, Arizona job. Cliff Kingsbury, who drafted Kyler Murray, had the keys to the Ferrari, put his own offense in, everything, head coach, offense, all of that. He had Kyler Murray and couldn't do what he needed to do with Kyler Murray in order to get the Cardinals to the next level. That's the job I think that Eric Bieniemy would have been the best fit for. Running some of the things that they run in Kansas City with a athletic quarterback who has a lot of arm talent, faster than Pat Mahomes, may not have the same amount of moxie. Of course, he doesn't have the same amount of playoff experience or Super Bowl experience, but as far as talent goes, you've got a guy who has really exceptional gifts. I think that job fits Eric Bieniemy so much better than the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, excuse me, the Washington, not Redskins, excuse me, the Washington Commanders job. I think I've been saying the Redskins the whole time, but it's the Commanders. So I think that the Commanders job, now you've got Ron Rivera, and a lot of people are saying they don't know how much longer Ron Rivera will coach, and maybe that's part of his deal that once Ron Rivera retires, he'll be the guy. I can see that. But also, if you're looking to maybe get a 1-year resume build in my offense is all of that type gig, why wouldn't you go somewhere like Arizona? Now, I'm not saying Arizona wanted him, but if you look, with them having Gannon, who's coming over from the Eagles defense, as the defense coordinator of the Eagles, you'll still have a guy that allow you to be the undisputed man when it comes to offense. All right. Same situation that you'll get in Washington. Washington has a better defensive line. They have a better defense as a whole, and they probably would require a lot less offense than Arizona would. So that's another thing in his that's another thing in the cachet that Eric Bieniemy was probably looking at when he decided to take the job at Washington. But overall, I don't think it's a great fit. I'm hoping for the best for Bieniemy. I think he deserves it. I think that anyone else with his resume, there has to be something else. Because one thing I do know, when we talk about all the racism and all of this, owners want to win ball games. So at the end of the day, there had to be something there that was a disconnect between ownership of multiple teams who interviewed Bieniemy and the ability for him to be hired as a head coach. I can't say it's hard for me to say it's blatant racism, but it's hard for me to say that there isn't a hint of, man, and when I think to myself, I say, man, if let's say Eric Bieniemy was white, do I think that he would have been hired? And that's also hard for me to say. I mean, you got guys who've been NFL lifers, and there are multiple NFL lifers who get their shot late. I mean, Bruce Arians got his shot fairly late. So, I mean, man, we wish for the best for Eric Bieniemy. It doesn't. I mean, for the average person, it does look like it could be, something that has to deal with the skin tone, partially, and the NFL recognizes this problem because if they didn't, there wouldn't be the Rooney Rule. And some people feel like the Rooney Rule is a handicap or is a blackout in the league or something that's not needed and something that suggests that black coaches aren't or minority coaches aren't on the same level as other coaches, so they need that help. But I think as the world turns and progresses and more accountability is being displayed by the NFL and more acceptance is starting to spread its wings and fly over the NFL, I think that we'll see that at the end of the day, it's about ball games. Now, one thing about it, we just had two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, which leads me to believe that things are changing. The game is changing. People are starting to, the classic drop back quarterback, and I'm just I'm gonna scan the field and throw lasers all over the place. It's harder to win like that because having a quarterback that does have athleticism and is able to get first downs with his legs or um, shift the play based on his athleticism, and when the play breaks down, you still have the ability to gain positive yardage, whether it's scrambling in order to create another passing lane, or it is just getting positive yardage with your legs. So we see that the game is changing. It's not your granddad's NFL. It's a brand new NFL, and I think it's going to start to show in the coaching eventually because there's no way that such a large amount of the NFL is African American, and there to be such a disparity between African American head coaches. Excuse me, such a disparity between the amount of African American players and African American head coaches in the NFL. I think that changes, and as you start to see more rising stars like a D'Amico Ryans get jobs and hopefully do well in that role, you'll see more diversity in the NFL when it comes to head coaching.